Hello, I'm David Nickel, your instructor for Religion, Art, and Culture, Writing Enriched Version for this fall semester 2018. Religion and culture is a recognized area or field in the academic study of religion. In my doctoral program at Duke University, it was part of that program, and it's been part of my research ever since. I'd like to start with you with a little exercise, an exercise in free association. Some of you may be familiar with this in relation to psychology or psychiatry. And the way it works there is your therapist, maybe you can imagine Dr. Phil, your therapist will say a word, and your job is to say the first thing that pops into your head. And the objective there is for you to reveal some hidden depths of yourself and maybe how you didn't get along with your mother is affecting your life now. But we're going to use this for educational purposes. So, the first word I'm going to share is the word culture. So let's put this up here, culture. And I want you to say the first thing that pops into your head. Now, of course, I can't hear you, but I can tell what you're thinking. And I know you're thinking maybe about customs. Customs. Things we often do without thinking that are part of our culture. Some of you are thinking art. Art in the sense of high culture, not just visual art, but that includes the things you might see in museums, but classical music with a symphony, art in this very cultured sense. Some of you are thinking movies. Something that's part of popular culture, of everyone's culture. And, I think I'm also picking up from some of you the word values. What values cause people in a culture to work, to seek some kind of goal? All right, enough about culture for the moment. So the next word your therapist says, and maybe some of you have guessed it by now, the next word your therapist utters is religion. Okay, again, I know some of you here are thinking God. And we're here in the Bible Belt, so most of us probably at UNCP are Christian in some form or another, so some of you are thinking Jesus, right? But some of you may be thinking also a little more widely about religion, and all religions, it seems, involve rituals, right? I mean, for those of us who are Christian, or maybe from other religions, we go to worship maybe on Sunday, maybe on Saturday, maybe on Friday. Or you can think of many other rituals like wedding ceremonies or animal sacrifice, if we're thinking especially back to the days of ancient religion, and some ancient religions are still around today. I hear some of you thinking traditions. Tradition, a very important part of religion. Okay, yeah, I'm also picking up some of you are thinking morals. It seems like that's an extremely important function that religion plays in society to maybe promulgate or to reinforce moral behavior, behavior that hopefully is good for society and doesn't harm others. Well, let's look at our board at this point, and hopefully you can see that some of these terms in culture and religion kind of overlap, right? Customs and traditions seem very much interrelated. I mean, some customs are religious and some aren't. And of course, morals and values, there's a whole lot of overlapping there. And if we don't know already, we'll learn in this course that much of the art, much of the visual art in Western history has been religious. Up through the Renaissance, really, all paintings, sculptures, architecture, at least major architecture, was basically for religion. And since the Renaissance, there's a lot of secular art, but there's also religious art that's continued. And when it comes to movies, the earliest movies were a retelling of Bible stories. What we're going to do in this course is to read, analyze, and interpret culture and religion. One dimension of culture involves what's really significant, what's most highly valued by a culture, what's worth living for or dying for. The Christian theologian and philosopher of religion, Paul Tillich, used the phrase ultimate concern. We human beings, he declared, are all ultimately concerned. Ultimate means that beyond which you can't go. It's the highest. It's the ultimate values that drive a culture for Tillich. Now, much of the culture we live, is like the air we breathe, or the ocean that a fish swims in. We usually don't directly notice it, even as it determines much of our lives. We'll look at a painting, and we'll look at culture more generally. And we'll ask, what's driving that culture? What are the artistic, the cultural, the religious values that drive that culture? One important aspect of culture, at least when we're talking about creators of art in the general sense, and that includes movies, is that there be something pleasurable to viewing the painting or watching the movie or the TV show, some kind of artistic beauty. And it could be even the kind of beauty of a horror movie, right? It has its conventions, its form of beauty that one appreciates if you're into horror films. Now, paintings sometimes have a message. They sometimes say something about the morals of society. And movies typically have some kind of message. It may be a pretty a trite or everyday type of message. But a creator of any kind of art may be aware of some of the values, some of what they're trying to get across in their work of art, but others may have an unintentional message, and that often means that the culture is kind of coming through in spite of themselves. So we'll look at what aspects of a piece of art, a piece of culture, a piece of religion are affirmed or rejected or challenged by creations of us human beings. An important thing for this course is the syllabus, as you might guess. And there will be a syllabus quiz early in the semester. In fact, it'll be due the end of the day on Sunday of that beginning week of the semester, or the next week. We'll start on Wednesday, right, officially. When you take that syllabus quiz, it's good for you to have a printed copy, a hard copy of that in front of you. That'll be a little easier than trying to go back and forth on the screen. Getting oriented for this course at the beginning is crucial for your success. So become familiar with the schedule. Read the frequently asked questions. Beyond my introduction that you're hopefully, or you are, of course, if you're hearing me or listening to right now, you'll go on and do all those items in the home or the modules page, or especially the home page that will get you oriented for this course. Realize that all assignments can be found under the appropriate learning module, and if you go to modules, it'll go to the tabs where you have the 8 modules featured. I've already referred to Tillich, and he's the author of our one textbook for the course, Theology of Culture. We'll read most of the chapters, 10 of them. All homework assignments, or what we're calling homework assignments, are on these 10 chapters of Tillich. There are many lectures from me on each chapter. There is a YouTube address in the syllabus for each lecture under these learning modules. And if you go to the YouTube site more generally, they're all there, but not in numerical order. And several of these mini lectures are divided into 2 or even 3 parts occasionally, so make sure you watch the whole of the mini lecture on each chapter. And of course, read the chapter before doing the homework. And you should go for the main ideas of Professor Tillich. It might be good to do some underlining. It might be good to take some notes as you're reading, and then answer the homework questions in your own words. But if you find you need, or it's best to quote Tillich at some points, do make sure that you put those words from Tillich in quotation marks. Let me give a word about plagiarism, particularly on the Tillich homework at this point. The main thing is to do your own work. Don't collaborate with anyone else in the course. Don't go to any website source. These assignments don't call, that is the homework assignments, don't call for any outside sourcing. Now each of us has our own unique style of speaking and of writing. So if you do plagiarize, I'll catch it. Another type of assignment are our discussions. And these are going to be on Western art through history. Different styles, different periods. There's more specific instructions on the syllabus and especially on each discussion. But here I want us to get a feel for what we're trying to do with these discussions. It's extremely important to keep in mind that this is not a homework assignment or a quiz where you try as an individual to answer different questions about, say, a painting. In fact, a good post typically will not, or definitely will not, answer all of the questions that I have with each of the paintings or other works of art we're analyzing and discussing. Instead, these questions are designed to stimulate a discussion, a class discussion. A discussion with the whole class, and we're trying as much as we can without being together in a classroom or meeting at the same time. And I know most of you don't want to have a set time when we all have to go online at the same time. So, to make this a success, it's crucial that you read all the previous posts on a piece of art that you're discussing. Never, ever repeat a point of information, an observation, or an opinion stated by another student in a previous post. And if you're doing a short reply, it's fine to say, I agree with Joe, but give a reason, or I disagree with Joe, but give a reason. If you don't have something new to offer on a particular painting or piece of architecture or a sculpture, then address another piece of art. Finally, the most important thing that you're looking for is for the cultural and religious values from the time period in which the painting was created and that it expresses. So we're not mainly concerned about how it speaks to us today in American culture in 2018. We're most concerned with what values or what message, what beauty this piece of art was trying to get across, the creator was trying to get across in 1000 or whatever the year was in which this was created. Besides 2 posts, you'll be responsible also for 2 shorter responses to other students' posts. And a last post should be saying something about, more generally, about the artistic, cultural, and or religious values that this piece is expressing from that particular period. Now, on this assignment, the discussions, you may indeed use outside sources. In fact, you're encouraged to use some outside sources. So this is a time to be on your computer or cell phone, whatever you have, to access things. Of course, you'll see the painting on Canvas, but then go to websites that might help you to learn more about this painting. When you do use something from a website, you should include the name of the website in your text, in your discussion. And if you do use words from that site, you should use quotation marks. But again, you just need the name and of the website and quotes if you're using the same words, but you don't need full bibliographic information for this or these assignments. Now, finally, a major project in this Writing Enriched course is an in-depth analysis and evaluation of either a film, a movie, or an artist or an artistic movement. And this project will be scaffolded in stages. So first of all, you'll request a topic, and it'll be first come, first serve for that. You'll turn in next a tentative bibliography, then a rough draft, then you'll read and give feedback on a rough draft of another student in the course, and finally, at the end of the semester, you'll turn in your final draft. Now, we do have many books on religion and film in our library, and there's a bibliography of religion and film books that have all the movies covered in a particular book under the title and the author of that book. So if you choose a particular film and there's a book in our library that covers that film, you should consult it and see if that's one of the sources you should use for your research paper. Now, in general, on these research papers, or on any research paper in at least religion or philosophy, you do need to be specific and cite the particular page or page numbers of a particular piece of information, whether it's quoted or just in your own words. You always need to cite it and indeed include the page numbers where that information is. And again, even if you just get an idea and put it in your own words, you need to cite it. Otherwise, you're guilty of plagiarism. And plagiarism is all about giving credit where credit is due, acknowledging someone that's given you a good idea that you're including in your research paper. A final note, late assignments will not be accepted except if you request and I choose to grant you permission to turn in something late. All right, enough of that little warning at the end. I am very excited about exploring meanings and values in religion, art, and culture this semester, and I look forward to working with you.